that means all from JGU are invited, and especially my class and the Octopi Club members, which was also announced only today, right? So there has been a lot of things which are getting streamlined now at JGBS. So Dr. Laknath will be taking the first part of this session. You are all familiar and you must have taken his courses, right?
Most.
I agree that.
Most.
So I find one few interesting things about him, that he is very student-centric. That is very important. So he puts the student's point of view first of all, and when you have your courses, then you have your writings, so the research writing becomes very important. To me, it is very important because I want to train you towards writing some case studies eventually. So this will help you in realizing how the paragraph should be structuring, basically, some myths that would be clarified to you. So we have another person also. He has written a number of articles in HBR case studies. He has got a lot of pounds, right? British pounds this year. So I thought we would be inviting him also, but he could not come here. So he will be talking over Skype. Somjyoti Datta from IIM Indore. Today also there is a very good news for me and all of you. IIM Jammu has started. And the new director, B.S. Sahai, he was one of my students, right? So it's like that. He's a very reputed faculty in India and abroad. Lots of money, lots of grants. So he has his offices right from today there. So it was good for us. So I hand it over to Dr. Laknath, and we would be hearing for about 30-35 minutes from him.
Okay, so thank you, Professor Saroj, for inviting me. It's lovely to be here with you all. I know many of you, some of you I don't know. I might have you in your final year students, so I probably won't have you, I will have you later on. We're just having some issues, here we are, just having some issues with the screen, so just bear with me. Just bear with me.
Dr. Laknath is also the Vice Dean Research, so you really know what is his foray and the area where he would be projecting, right?
He has taught us 2 subjects.
He has taught you 2 subjects, okay.
3 subjects.
3 subjects, okay.
I hope so. So, welcome to you all. It's really nice actually to be talking to you about research. This is, as Professor Cole mentioned, my area. Research is what I live for. I'm a very curious person. I love studying and examining consumer behavior. That's my specialty. Just as a bit of an introduction to me, my name is Laknath Jayasinghe. I know many of you, but some I don't. So, Laknath Jayasinghe. My 2 titles here are I'm an associate professor in marketing, and my second administrative title is Vice Dean of Research. So I'm speaking to you probably in both capacities, but mainly in the second capacity as the VP of Research. If anyone's interested to get in touch with me, I mean, many of you know where I live. I actually live there. In room 371, top floor, oval side on T3. And that's my email and phone number, so you can sort of contact me anytime if you're interested about anything I said or discussed here. Okay? Very, very quickly, an introduction to me. I don't want to talk about me a lot. So I have a number of degrees. My first degree was actually in biological sciences, in biochemistry at the University of Melbourne. Good time in my life, good time to party and socialise and not that was it. It's not me either. Good time, but I mean, like many of you, the early 20s is the time to work out what you want to do, and that's basically what I was doing here. And it was only really after I worked for a couple of years, I then went back to study. This was, by the way, I'm Australian born, and Australian raised. My parents come from Sri Lanka. They migrated to Australia many years ago. Then I went up to Queensland and studied marketing when I was in my young 20s. Beautiful, beautiful moment, and that really turned me on to where I am today. I mean, I studied marketing, and my second major was film and communication studies. And if you look at my research, I'm sort of there at that nexus, but back then you couldn't really do that, so I had to take two majors. I worked in the advertising industry for quite a while after that, both in Melbourne and in Sydney and in Brisbane. And then went back to study. Some of you might even, shock horror, go back to study in a few years. I did an MPhil, a research degree, a research dissertation in an English department. My department was English Lit. I'm asking to turn that off. In English Lit, and what I was doing there was gaining a weight in turn it off.
So बंद कर दो यार.
Does he have to do it now?
No.
In English Lit. And I was getting a weight in cultural studies, cultural theory, which I later applied in my PhD. I then went back to the business school world, married my cultural theory with my advertising background, and well, here I am today. So that's me. I really don't want to speak too much further about that. Just to talk to you about the sorts of things I do. Sorry, these are the places I've taught at. The sorts of things I do is I research around, sorry, that's a bit too light, advertising and brand engagement. So I actually talk about, research about, write about, think about how consumers make meanings from television, mainly television, but increasingly other forms of brand communication. What sort of meanings they create from these sorts of forms of advertisements. And then look at it through this lens of, you can't see it there, it says consumer culture and identity. So,
बस हो गया भैया रखो. बंद कीजिए इस समय नहीं क्लिक करते हैं.
I look at it through the lens of consumer culture and identity. My research has been published in the top tier journals. This is a piece I'm especially proud of. And if you're interested, you can find research it or read it. You can download it. It's not a journal. It was published in 2013. And if you look at the little bullet point here, it was voted as one of the top 16 must-read, global must-read publication in the world of marketing and consumer research. So, I don't want to sort of talk me up, but I know consumer research and I know writing papers quite well. So in the next half an hour, what I actually want to talk about, let's see if we get through this list. I want to talk about four things. Right? These four things. Writing, but before we get there, I want to talk about first how to develop, or at least give you some feel for what might be called a research problem or research statement. And then I want to go to some of the fundamentals. I mean, this is only half an hour, right? And I'll probably only have about 15 minutes to talk about the fundamentals of these two things. So let's start with the first. Who here has written what we might call a dissertation or an extended research report? Empirical studies. I did that with some of you last term. Okay, that's it? That's it? Okay, so, okay, now, some of you might have actually, it was a major rush, as you all know, and many of you actually probably wrote it without any consideration for structure and so on. And, look, I'm with you there. I have 3 students there, your peers, your friends, and we're all in the same boat. Even me as a faculty member, as an advisor, I was in the same boat as well. What I want to get you to think about here is, and this is moving on to the second point here, is researching from the point of view of a problem, right? Whether it's a problem out there in industry, right? Whether it's a problem out there facing an organization, or particularly if we're talking more scholarly research, that's more clinical applied commercial research. From the point of view from the scholarly world, it's a problem within the scholarly literature. literature, right? Have you heard about this phrase? Most of our faculty members would phrase it this way: look for the gap in the literature. Have you heard of that phrase?
Yes.
Research gap. Now, how do you get to that research gap? How do you guys get in the sort of little times that you conducted your empirical studies? How did you get to that research gap, or try to get to that?
Literature review.
Lit review, exactly. So it's through the lit review, and when you get to Prof. Cole's stage or my stage or wherever, you're actually spending perhaps a month or 2 months, 3 months in a PhD might be a full 6 months researching just the literature around the area. For you guys, it might be just a couple of weeks, right? And no one expects you within a few weeks to have plumbed the depths of consumer research or logistics research or whatever it might be. No one expects you to. But what you should be doing, and this is really important, now you're familiar with Google Scholar? Familiar with Google Scholar? You should be researching within the last 3 to 5 years. Right? If you're sort of putting your articles from the 1990s, they may be cool articles, but you're not really at what we call the frontier of scholarship in your area. Okay? The way to get to, if we talk about a research gap, the way to get to that is by thinking of, okay, here's a problem either externally out there in the sector I'm studying, whether it's an organization in my area, it might be about consumer behavior. I see something out there in the world and that's an interesting phenomenon to study. Has anyone else studied that before? And chances are the answer is yes. That doesn't mean it's dead. And here's something might I say. If everyone tells you something is dead, they're dead wrong. Right? Just a little anecdote, when I was a PhD student, 12 years ago now, everyone said don't study television advertising, it's dead. Right? And I come from a television advertising background. My advisor built his name, his reputation on television advertising. And I said, we'll go together, we'll write a publication. But as I was a PhD student, everyone said, what are you studying this for? What stuff is over there? Social media, this, hot shit is this. And I might say, I felt a bit, am I doing the right thing? Well, it's actually not that. It's not your context that's hot. Right? Those who know me in my classes, I just discriminate between two terms, context and concept. You're familiar with that? Context. It's not the context that's hot. Hot context come and go. My friends who are studying Second Life, they were invited to all the fancy conferences, and you must say here we were with a bit of scholarly envy going, oh my God, why isn't it me? But at the end of the day, it's your conceptual, it's your ability to work on a conceptual problem that's of the essence. Right? It's a conceptual problem, not a contextual problem. There's context come and go all the time. So, assuming you're working through the literature, right, you come to a point where it's like, okay, I see a problem that's confounding. The research literature is saying this, but I sense, and this is also another point, and might I say, I'm speaking from the point of view here as a qualitative researcher. A quantitative research is very different. Right? In fact, some of the rules I'm going to talk about actually work quite the opposite way when it comes to qualitative research. Right? I'm talking here as a qualitative guy. Right? So that's to bear in mind. Because what we do is take phenomena out there and then say, okay, how does the research literature configure that, right? And determine then what's called research questions of value. Depending on how far we've researched the research literature, what the research literature is saying about the topic, finding a gap of value, right? And when I value to the scholarly community, right? This can help solve a puzzle that's been perplexing researchers in my field. Does that make sense? Right? That gap of value, I'm trying to help solve this puzzle that's been perplexing.
Can you just use this because we need a recording so?
I don't mind just everyone.
Yeah, no. It's not a sound, it's only for camera,
okay.
so thank you.
So it's trying to solve this gap of value both to those in the literature, authors from the literature, those from the scholarly world, but also having your mind, having one leg in, should I say, the world, the practical world. Where might these ideas come in use out there, away from the scholarly insights, right? So just sort of think of that. Sure, you might be thinking of a gap of significant scholarly value, but also think, what are the implications for this out there, right?
Practical applications.
Practical applications, but you can never fully determine that. Once a scholar's written a paper, the scholar has no idea how that paper is going to be received, right? As I'm talking, I'm thinking of the beautiful paper. You've heard of John Nash?
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful mind, game theory, all of that. I mean, when you read his the work around his seminal papers, a couple of papers, he had no idea, absolutely no idea where it would go. He just loved doing what he was doing. He knew he'd solve some puzzle in the literature, but he actually had no idea that 30 years, 40 years later, it's going to be the foundation of a significant chunk of economic theory. Had no idea, right? So, but have some idea, what I'm saying is you have some idea of what is the practical application. And I say that both for scholarly reasons, but I also say that for even more practical reasons, because sure enough, when you get to a grant committee meeting or proposal meeting, they're going to say, yeah, this is really good for the literature, but I'm giving you some money to research stuff. What's the social outcome of this research, right? And you have to be able to defend it. So that problem should be written crisply as what we call a problem statement, right? And it's from that problem statement, and that problem statement is something that that problem statement is a statement of often a problem of value, significant value within the literature that helps close a puzzle. Now, from that, we cascade on to what's called a research question, right? It's not my intention here in 15 minutes to tell you how to build a research question, but you can, particularly those who are going on to qualitative either research careers or maybe conducting your studies here through qual research lenses, you will build a research question or /s, plural, questions, dependent on the problem statement, right? It cascades down. And from that research, those research questions then, right, everything else, and I'm not trying to get too technical here. Where's some chalk? I don't want to get too technical here, but I'm just going to, in 5 minutes, introduce a bit of complex theory without getting too technical, if that makes sense. So now those, not for my research students are here from the empirical studies, but what you should be thinking of is this. What is the ultimate belief or aspiration, right? Belief system or aspiration of the nature of reality that organization, group of consumers, group of managers if you're researching that, the nature of the reality that they see the world through. And you might go, holy crap, what is that? The nature of, well, not that. If it was the other guy, it might have been. But the nature of reality, you're going, what the hell? Right? This refers to this technical term, again, I'm just throwing out a technical term, called ontology, the nature of reality of something you're researching. Because, let me put it in simple terms, if you come from the quantitative point of view, you assume that things exist as they are, right? You assume that there's facts and statements can be drawn from the facts. But if you come from the qualitative side of things, let me actually just backtrack a bit to that first statement. If you come from the quantitative side of things, you actually assume that there's a typical social reality that exists independently of people's being in that social setting. Right? But if you come from the qualitative point of view, you assume that that nature of reality is constructed by people, us, in action. We construct the reality. It's hard to just get your head around right now, I assume. I can send you some journal articles to that. I'm just introducing it as a concept because every researcher thinks about this or should think about this because that nature of reality determines the methodology that you take. And what I mean by methodology is not method, they're two different things. Methodology is the philosophy behind the method you use. Now, I know this is probably, I know my 3 students who were with me last year, they were like, holy shit, what is this? Right? But they got it. And I don't know how many of our faculty members taught you this last year in your empirical studies, they should have. And I think that should be on every PhD course, correct? I hope you say yes, right? It should be on every PhD course around the world. And we're starting to include this in our PhD course from next year. But that idea of what's the philosophy behind the method, I'm running out of room, then determines the actual precise methods through which you go and collect data. Right? That's why I've gone through that. And it's probably, particularly the first 2 points, belief, aspiration, the nature of reality, you might go, hang on, but we just exist. Or when you get to doctoral level and advanced master's level, we don't just exist. You'll find out ways through which there are differences that we exist through. Is everyone with me there? All right, good. Now I'm going to change tack again. I just had 3 things. I'm not going to get into dissertation structure. Do we have time? 10 more minutes? 10 more minutes? Maybe 5 minutes. I'm just giving you sort of like a greatest hits version of research in half an hour. I could spend 3 hours on each one of these topics. Okay, let me just go one step further from here. If we can talk down there. Right? Oh, yeah, good. There's a good geographic separation, which is nice. See? The reason I talk about this up here, which is, anyone seen The Matrix? The film, right? This is this sort of stuff. They're different realities, right? And the easiest way, I don't want to get religious on you, the easiest way, I always say this in my methodology classes, is think of how, I'm sure we all have, this is India, this is multicultural, multi-ethnic, multiracial, multi-religious India. Think of how here there are different religious systems, and each religious system has a different understanding of what is reality, right? And if we walk top that way, ultimately they have different belief systems. And that's the same for us, right? That's the same for us. Just because it's religion, we sort of castigate it, but it's the same for us in our everyday lives. So that's where it becomes important, because to ultimately research why people do what they do, how organizations behave the way they do, you need to get at this and this. And then going through that flow chart, you're going to apply, in line with the nature of reality and the belief system, you're going to apply data analysis frameworks that come from that linear spectrum to help to examine your data, to help make sense of your data and gain some really cool findings. Okay? I know it's a bit too much to put into 5 minutes, but I just really wanted to tell you that. I think it's an important thing. I'm going to change tack again and talk about writing, because Saroj said writing is something that I think you guys need, and to be not taught. It's not teaching writing, but at least getting you to think about aspects of writing. So, who here has heard of what's called the classic 5-part essay structure? You might have heard of it in different ways. 5-part essay format, 5-part essay, 5-paragraph essay structure. No one? No one? No one? Introduction. Oh, okay, yeah. Then?
It's a context that is related to that question.
Yes.
Then it's a...
That's still introduction, mind you.
Then it's the reply to that question.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I know. Conclusion. Yeah, I see what you're doing. Yes. Let me say it's intro, body, conclusion, intro, body 1, body 2, body 3, conclusion, right? And you finessed it. Yeah, that's not a bad attempt. Now that 5-part essay, that 5-para essay structure holds no matter if you're in year 10 at high school and writing a 500-word or 800-word essay, or you're like our professors here who are writing research papers, or you're one of our PhD students writing a 80 to 100,000 word research dissertation, or you guys writing a MBA dissertation or IBM dissertation or whatever it might be. It still holds. There's different ways through which the 5 parts hold together, different combinations, as you alluded to, but essentially it still holds. Now, okay, you've heard of that. Most of you have heard of that structure. Intro, body 1, body 2, body 3, conclusion. Good. What about writing paragraphs? Okay. What's the classic thing you need for an essay? I don't want to be high school teacher on you, but...
Topic.
Okay, you need a topic, yes. But you've got a topic, you need 2 things. Actually, you need many things, but let's see what you say.
So what is the problem that we are going to address, or the challenges that we are going to address?
Okay, can you finesse that out? Can you finesse that out, what you just said?
First, should be what are the problems
So there's
we are going to address,
topic,
then how are we going to deal with it, how we are
Okay,
going to
yeah.
deal with it, how we are going to analyze it, or methodology?
I'm talking more, okay, you're talking research here, and yes, we are talking research. I'm talking more general in a writing.
So maybe how to start it?
Yes. So how do you write an intro? Structure, yes, exactly. What's the structure of an intro? For an essay, for dissertation,
Start with an intro, then you go by topics.
but what are the building blocks?
History of the.
Oh, good. Yes, good. Okay, 5 more minutes. What did you say?
History.
Okay, intro. History. Background. Yep. What else? Those who know me, I mentioned two related words before.
Context and
Intro to text first, concept. Now, what's the sort of second last thing when you're writing an intro paragraph or intro? You need something, and I've sort of put it there on the slides, but you
Current scenario. Problem.
yeah, you're almost there, but I know that goes here, right? Oh, actually, I'll put that in, but that's not what I wanted. Current issue. Actually, that stems to this problem. Statement. In sort of, if you're sort of in the writing world, people call that the thesis statement. What is the thesis of your essay, report, or whatever, right? That's your intro. Now, cascading down from that, you know how to write paragraphs? What starts off a typical paragraph? This first sentence of a paragraph is called what? It's the same whether it's in India or Australia. You might call it something else, like in Hindi, in the Hindi dialect. Anyone? How about if I throw the phrase out, topic sentence? Have you heard of that? Topic sentence. And I'll come over here. Okay, this is where I'll probably wrap up. So from your problem statement, everything in your research report, your dissertation, everything should be written through there. In other words, that is the lens you apply to the entire document. That statement suffuses every sentence, even the gaps between the sentences. You know what I mean when I say that? The ideology behind, the sentiment behind your problem statement should be there suffusing like gas, right? Should be there through the gaps between the sentences. And that problem statement comes in handy explicitly, not implicitly, when you come to write your paragraph or section topic sentences. Does that make sense? So remember how I said earlier, and I'll probably end soon. Remember how I said earlier, taking the 5 para essay structure, assuming you've conducted your research, you've got your findings, you've worked out your problem statement way before, and now you're trying to work out how do I structure what I want to say. Well, in line with your thesis statement, which in a research context is reinterpreted as a problem statement, you then sort out your key ideas that sort of cascade or flow out from your problem statement. Yes? And they become what you call sections or paragraphs around finding 1, around finding 2, for example, finding 3. And each will have a topic sentence, right? And that topic sentence explicitly links back to your problem statement. And your problem statement explicitly links back, I've erased it, back to what? Ideology, is that what you said? No, sort of. Well, yes, concept, but I'm actually thinking, remember how I said the belief system, the belief idea, and the nature of reality. It explicitly links back to that. I'm sort of stretching you out. I know this is a stretch because I'm stretching you out from coursework masters to research masters and early doctoral level thinking, right? I know I'm doing that because I can see some people going, oh shit, you know. But it's good for you guys to think this way, stretch your minds. Just one other thing. Dissertation structure. Are you guys writing a dissertation this term? Some of you are. Okay. Okay. So you've got. Okay. Very quickly, do you know the structure for a dissertation? They know? Okay. Okay. I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to leave it there as well. So thank you very much. You actually have been very attentive and very interactive. I enjoy these classes. If you have any queries, come and chat to me. I'd be happy to, those who know my students from the MBA class, they were stretched, very much stretched, because I gave them some articles to read about the philosophy of research. If you're interested, email me. I can email them to you, those articles. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
It was indeed nice. So they will have to do some writing for me also, and that has to happen in 21 days, isn't it? So they will be doing a concept writing.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So a round of applause for teaching.
Thank you. I enjoy teaching these classes, and I enjoy getting the sort of feedback from I don't want to say students, from my audience as I did today. So you guys are engaged and switched on, so thank you. All the best.